Okay, sorry for the problems. There is a bit problem with my internet today. Welcome all once again to the second meeting, second session of uh, Beat the Lockdown with Akhil. Today I'm going to talk about writing. I've given this name as All Right, All Right, All Right. It is for all of us to write. That's it. Nothing else, nothing big, nothing small, nothing more than that, nothing less than that. We will be exploring certain facets of writing. And why did I come up with this? Let me share a document with all of you. So I hope I'm audible to all. Just if couple of you could just raise your hand and tell me that I'm audible, it would be helpful. Okay, I'm audible, it seems. Okay, chalo. So there is no lag or there is no problem, connection problem. So when I'm talking about all right, all right, all right, it is about the basic human attribute of expressing yourself, right? So if you go and look at, say, certain prehistoric cave paintings which the Stone Age man drew. So Stone Age man has drawn some cave paintings. He has drawn what he saw outside and he has gone and drawn it inside. He wants to express what he is seeing, he wants to express what he's feeling, and he wants to express what his imagination. So this imagination, this seeing, this feeling, it comes to a when it is codified, when it is put in a particular language which is understood by everybody, and each and everyone has the same meanings associated with it. It becomes a written script. They become words, languages, the basic mode of human communication. And when you write it on a piece of paper, it becomes a writing. So, why is there a need for you to master this writing, the art of writing, which I call it? I want all of you to be, strong when it comes to writing. So, my focus here is that you have to be comfortable physically, mentally, and intellectually with a pen and a paper in your hand. You should have a paper and a pen, and if these two are with you, you should be very comfortable. There shouldn't be any problem with it. What is this comfort? Let us explore. I was talking about why is there a need to express yourself. First of all, it is a emotional outlet that it gives you. If you express yourself, you are better at telling your emotions. You are putting your emotions on a piece of paper. It helps you psychologically because then you are able to establish a contact with another person. It helps you professionally as well. If you can express yourself, that is known as being articulate. If you are very clear, if you are able to put across the message that you want to tell to somebody, it is through a mode of written communication. So articulation is again very important. So this is very important. From this is why you need to master this art of writing. Now, as I told you, my focus here is I want you to be comfortable physically, emotionally, mentally, and intellectually. Now, what is the meaning of physical comfort? See, if I give you a pen and a paper, say you have a writing pad. I hope some of you are carrying a writing pad. Just take look at yourself. If you have a writing pad, it means you're comfortable physically writing it. If you're not, then it would probably be difficult, right? So whenever you are attending a meeting or a session or maybe a discussion wherein some points have to be noted down, are you comfortable writing them down as you go? Are you able to elaborate certain situations on a piece of paper? That gives you that physical comfort. How good is your handwriting? You know where to draw a line, where not to draw a line, how to illustrate, how to look for different things. This is what goes into that physical aspect of it. What do you mean by mentally? Mental preparation here means that there are certain situations in your personal life, in your professional life, wherein you have to make some quick notes, you have to think fast, you have to be very strong, you have to look for some data, you have to present some data. This is that level of mental preparation. It goes into that IQ side of things. When I'm talking about IQ, intelligence quotient, there is again something known as a intellectually. What do you mean by intellectual comfort? The intellectual comfort that I'm talking about here is something which all of us face. If I tell you to, okay, you know what, take a piece of paper and start writing about some experience of yours, or start writing about how you think should this current battle, let us say, how do you think we should fight corona, or what could be your contribution, what do you think will you will. Whenever this kind of a thought exercise is given, there becomes some problem. Okay, I don't know how to work on it. And that is the intellectual level I'm talking about. Again, I'm telling you, this is not about English writing, this is about writing only. I'm talking about just writing. Language is just a tool of writing. Language is nothing more than a tool. You change the tool, you are as comfortable with that another tool, right? So I'll just share a document, as I said. Is the screen visible to you all? There is a writing. If somebody could just give me another hint that yes, okay, the screen is visible. There is something I've written, and what you're seeing right now is uh, my sketchbook on which I have prepared for today's session. Here, if we go and now I was talking about why is then there a need to express yourself. These are the reasons why. Then it comes to the what of things. What should you be doing? My focus is you should be comfortable. Now, what are the avenues that you have as a person where you can write? So there is always, if you're in your professional life, you'll be writing reports, you'll be writing applications, you'll be writing certain presentations. This is a very interesting thing that is developing: banners and advertising for official communication. No profession today is independent of this banner and advertising, right? So this again becomes an important thing, that when you're talking about banners and advertising, how you communicate through your advertising your content. Next, there is plan, strategies, and a whiteboard approach. What we are seeing right now here is something known as that whiteboard approach. I have mimicked my sketchbook to look like a whiteboard. I use it as a whiteboard, and you throw things out about it, and then you go about. We'll be covering this in detail soon, right? Again, what is the use? I told you we'll be talking about the use of writing. Personal letters, messages. How many of you write, say, let us say, a birthday message? How many of you write your own birthday message? If it is your best friend's birthday, if your friend's birthday, you compose a message which has something, which has a personal message, not a ready-made one, not a photograph, not a picture of a cake, happy birthday niche likh diya de diya. No, that is copy paste. If you are writing, if you're wishing someone on his birthday, it better be coming from inside. What do you feel about that person, right? Then there is always journal writing or diary writing. Many of us write that journal ki, dear this is how happening, things are happening in your life, personal diary and so on. Finance management I've included here because a lot of students, a lot of us have that habit of making notes of our finances, right? And then allocating the, say, pocket money or the salary and so on and so forth. So this again forms the important aspect wherein you will be talking about writing, using the writing for your finance management. Notes to your own self, right? This is very important thing. Notes to your own self. In a lot of students, a lot of people have certain notes written. They are stuck in their study table, stuck to the book here and there. So when I so notes to yourself, and then comes the very last part as hobby. Poem, story, essay, so on. See, when I talk about writing, immediately we think, okay, ये author बनने का है क्या, notebook book लिखना है क्या, या फिर book publish करना है क्या? No, it is not always related to that. Sometimes it can be as simple as your journal writing. So this comes in the very end of my priorities. When I'm talking about using writing for a professional benefit, you have to look at it from this perspective. Now, how do you do it? It's very simple. You pick up a task, think about your write up, write it out, and evaluate. As simple as that, nothing different. You're all students and you're all have been writing for a very long time. So you know what Hello. Right. So I was talking about, we know what to, we are not so much unaware of how writing is to be done. There is a problem of practice, and I'll come to that. There are certain prerequisites though. That first prerequisite is writing instrument. What do you mean by writing instrument? A regular pen. You have to spend some good amount of money on a pen. This is a very good pen which I use, and it costs less than a vada pav. As simple as that. But you have to invest that money on getting the good quality writing instrument, 15 rupees. That's it. Paper, books, and pencil. Now here I'll come to the part of how this works. There are certain diaries which you can write in. So this is one of the diary which I use for my all professional work. There is a small things to do diary which I use. There is a small things to do diary. I keep it. I write the things. Second day morning, I can use it. Third writing instrument is again a diary which keeps a log of what all you have done. So this is a good diary. It has a lot of information that how the task is done, and it is always accessible. You can use it anytime and so on. Like I said, I'm talking about books. When I'm talking about books, I should be talking about papers. So we want to talk about some notes to your own self. So when I talk to notes to your own self, there was some chart paper lying around. Take that chart paper, cut it into small cards, and you can use these cards also. They're very small in size. You keep it in your pocket, you carry it on around you, right? What can be written on this? Everything and anything. Something you want to remember, you write it here. Some formula, you write it here. Some exercises, you write it here. Some recipe, you write it here. Something you want to memorize, you write it here. So you can use these. These are also known as flashcards. You flash these cards. There's a bunch of cards. You look through these. Okay, these are all I'm trying to tell you about, that how you can improve your how you can improve your interest into the art of writing, right? Then there is always take care of grammar and punctuation. Always take care when you're writing that you should always try to write as correct grammar as possible. There are many apps and websites which will help you with that. Grammarly is one of them. It literally installs itself on your computer, and whatever you write, it provides a better grammar correction to that. There is a pattern or repetition. We try to tend to fall into a repetitive sort of writing. It happens when speaking also, that it becomes a part of your style. We have to be aware of it and not repeat too much, right? So this is how to write, what to write, things that you have to take care of. There's another thing, a special part which I would say is, we want to make your writing interesting, and you are writing for your own self. So when you're writing for your own self, you can look at this something known as illustrations. What is illustrations? Illustrations is nothing but small, minute drawings that you draw, right? Your writing can have specific features. For example, underline, indents, quotes, use of color, use of second language. If you have written something, say in English, you just add a flavor of Marathi. Depending on obviously the application, it becomes, your writing itself becomes more interesting. It generates you, it hooks you on, it keeps you there. I remember a friend of mine, he mathematics, engineering mathematics 3, very difficult subject, and he used to write jokes about the mathematical formula right next to the formula, and his jokes were very interesting. They were very funny, and you may forget the formula, but you will never forget the joke which he has associated with that formula. So that is how he used to remember mathematics. So use of second language, again, it becomes a very extremely important thing. And remember, along with use of second language, you can do something is that get into use of a second script. Something which I also do, that suppose I'm listening to a lecture and it tends to get boring, rather it tends to become a little strenuous, you tend to lose some interest. What do? Whatever you are listening, suppose the lecture is in English, I immediately used to transliterate it, not translate, transliterate. As in, if it is saying that, say, thermodynamics, I will write in Devanagari Lipi thermodynamics. Automatically, it refreshes your mind and you can take more and more interest. You can also translate sometimes, but that is again, it is helps in your increasing your concentration, right? An example of illustration is, how many of you use these symbols regularly in your notes? It's very important. The list goes on and on. We use a lot of emoticons, emojis. We use a lot of emojis in our chats. Start using them in your books, depending obviously on the application. So this is how you will be able to improve your. This is how you will be able to improve your understanding of right writing. So now, whenever I am talking about writing, see, you have to first think that लिखने के लिए हमको मैटर चाहिए. सब्जेक्ट मैटर जब तक नहीं रहेगा हम नहीं लिख पाते. So let us do your first writing exercise. For example, write a description of yourself. Suppose I tell you that tomorrow you take some time off and write a description of yourself. When you have to write about yourself, you will not require facts. You don't need to search for figures or anything. सब कुछ मालूम है आपको आपके बारे में. You start writing. You write your own story. You write your life up till now, your place of birth. You describe your place of birth, school teacher, etc. And expansion of each and every pointer. So if at all you're writing about your place of birth, start writing more and more about it. When you start to expand each and every point given here, it improves your writing skills. This is how you go and you improve your writing in terms of skill. Okay, now I am calling it a skill because skill is something which can be used to deliver whatever you want. Okay, you look at this whiteboard. I told you about whiteboard approach. If you can see, if you can see this whiteboard, I think everybody can see. The screen is being shared, right? Yes, can you see these colors and all? I wanted a visual impact for myself. If I want to present something, how it looks like. This is how things are stored in our mind also. Our mind, things are not stored in the form of a book. So when you put it out there in this fashion or in this format, it improves you. And yes, a very important point is, to build a habit, you need deliberate practice. You have to practice this thing. You practice, practice, and practice. So when it comes to what kya likho yaar, you probably want to increase your say improve your handwriting. What do? Take a newspaper, see whatever you are seeing on your phone and start writing. You want to improve your drawing, look at a diagram, start drawing it. You want to improve your analysis, look at that analysis, start writing. So this is how you will be able to do it. One last part about it is, some students will be thinking of what to write, rather how to improve that, how to increase the capacity of writing. I would say, I would not recommend go and start reading books. First of all, I would recommend, if you want to improve your writing, start reading different genres. Right. So how did I start my journey about writing? My simple funda is, I have been an avid reader of newspaper. If there is a newspaper, I read it end to end. If I get my hands on a newspaper, I read it from end to end. What happens when you read one single newspaper end to end? There is some breaking news. The way of describing a breaking news is different. There is some local news, there is international news, there is business related news, there is entertainment related news, there is sports related news. When you go through all these in one single newspaper, you can easily find out that there is a change in description, how the things are described. That is how you get into the, you can get the exposure to different genres. Second thing, you watch web series, you watch movies, you watch news, especially series. Whenever, if at all I am recommending a couple of series, do not go for very sci-fi and very engrossing. For example, if you want to understand that, I told you, like, you want to write a screenplay or a script writing, that is again a very good form of writing. If you want to write a screenplay, you can go and watch some good dramatic movies. But you want to write good dialogues, you need that weight, you need more number of characters. For example, if you want to simply improve your say communication in the form of a dialogue skill, you cannot go and watch Game of Thrones, right? Because wahan pe you are not focusing on what is happening, you are looking at the dragon or looking at that army and so on and so forth. Then you go into a political drama or a dialogue drama where there is that kind of a hello. To be the host. Right. Sorry. Extremely sorry. Today doesn't seem to be a very good. Yeah. Internet connectivity is very bad. Right. I think I'm audible. I had gone offline for a moment there, but I think this is audible right now. Coming back, I was talking about looking for movies or series. See where there is a lot of dialogue, where is there a different level of exchange of things, and automatically you will be able to understand how that communication process takes place. Right? This is the deliberate practice which I'm talking about. So go ahead and start your own writing. This is just an example of what could be your first writing exercise. It might as well be your assignment. That is absolutely okay. It might be you want to write a technical piece, you want to write a technical review, you want to write about a technology, that is fine. But get into the mode of writing. The more you write, the deeper your level of understanding becomes. See, because when you want to write, you have to conduct some research, you have to look for things, you have to look for different angles to the same point. And that is how we proceed. This is all I had planned for today. I would now open it for questions. If you have some questions, do raise your hands and we'll take some questions now. Last time I got a feedback that there was a less time for questions. So I've kept it short this time, but we'll go for more questions. You can start the questions in chat. Or you can just raise your hand, no problem. Okay, I got one question. Is it very essential to have mastery over a language? No sir, no, you don't have to be a master to write. Like I said, language doesn't play a part here. You start writing, you start this exercise in your own mother tongue, that is more than enough. You start writing in the language in which you went to school, in the medium in which you studied. But this is, again, let me be very clear, this is not about language. Okay, this is not about developing a very strong vocabulary or say writing very in-depth analysis or anything like that. I told you my purpose here is very clear. You have to be comfortable with a piece of paper and a pen. You have to be able to write basic and use some illustrations. That is the main motto why I'm addressing this point here. So this is one of the questions that language is again not very important. Language is obviously important, but it is not the only requirement. You don't have to be great masters for this. Any other question? Right. Can you please elaborate upon technical writing? Yes, very important. Especially for the third year students who are writing their seminar reports, and for the second year guys, when it comes to technical writing has a certain flow, number one, and certain characteristics of that language. What do you mean by flow of language? Whenever you are writing any technical paper or a review, it has to follow a certain logical way of representing the facts and the data. There is no feedback कि ऐसे flashback में वगैरह नहीं जा सकते. It has to be, the approach has to be quite linear. So these are the assumptions, this is how it is proceed, this is the structure, this is the process, these are the changes, these are the that sequence is fixed. That is the first part whenever you're approaching a technical. Second, there are certain words, certain phrases which you can and which you should use. There are definitely certain phrases which you should not use whenever you are writing a technical paragraph. It is extremely important. How do you build upon this? You build upon this by going through a lot of, sorry, you build upon this by going through a lot of research papers. You look at some research papers, you look at certain findings, then automatically you will be building that required prerequisite vocabulary. Unless you read a lot, you're not going to build that vocabulary. But then again, doesn't mean that you have to sit and read only. Whatever you are reading, you have to reproduce. See, there is a very interesting thing, equation hai 2 is to 1 ka. So if you're studying for say 30 minutes, forget 1 hour. If you're studying for 30 minutes, 20 minutes you are going to read, but in the next 10 minutes you are going to write what you have read. You have to reproduce that. That is how you will be improving your skill. That is how you will be going and working for that. Next. So what to do about? Okay. How to write a literature review? Yeah, regarding the same one, how to write a literature review? Like I said about technical thing, whenever you're going to write a literature review, the best thing is you first refer a template. Okay, when it comes to technical writing, because you cannot afford to be wrong. So there is a certain way in which if you go through a review paper, how they have reviewed a set. That is the basic part. Literature review is very important to understand the technology, right? So how you look at any given technology or technologies, that goes into the literature review. You first go for the keywords. For any technical paper, there are always those keywords given below. You go through those keywords, you understand them. Okay, this meeting will be ending in 10 minutes. You go through those keywords, you go through the basic abstract of what is given in a particular research paper, and then you present the entire research paper in 3, 4 or 5 lines, that what was the aim, what was the procedure used, and what was the outcome. Initially it might be repetitive, doesn't matter. When you're going for that literature review, you are free to go and use that repetitive ones, absolutely not an issue. Doesn't, again, technical writing doesn't need flowery language. It needs correct language. The communication should be as clear as possible. But then automatically when you're going through this literature review, if you start to present it in a particular way, you become well versed with what is asked, what is your own opinion on it, and that is how you will be going for the literature review. I have 10 more minutes. If any other question, you may just ask. I can unmute you, or you may write it in the chat box also. Yeah, very good. It's a very good thing. We want to make writing a daily habit. How to make this activity more interesting so that in any circumstances you don't forget to write this activity. It's very simple. Unless you write one page, you don't sleep. As simple as that. If you want to write from your daily experiences, yes, I would like to write from my daily experiences. Good thing. Journal writing is very important, very easy, because when you're writing that, when you're writing a journal, you're writing what is happening with you. You don't have to think much about it, and you start writing it. When you want to create writing into a habit, and you have to at the same time make it more interesting, I will suggest find some accountability partner. What do you mean by accountability partner? It is somebody who will who will help you, who will, uh, an accountability partner is basically somebody who takes care कि तूने लिखा नहीं आज लिख के भेज. So this is how you build that accountability partner. First thing, whenever you want to build a habit, make sure that you have some person who is keeping a check on you. Second thing is, if you want to make it interesting, you have to find out new avenues, different avenues. How do you find out those different avenues? You write about your daily routine. Good for you, very good. But then you pick up something. Okay, I am going to look after this hobby, and I am going to start writing on that hobby. All of us listen to a music, all of us watch some movies or anything. Write a review of that movie in 100 words, in 200 words. Start finding these writing exercises. A lot of courses are available online and all, wherein they give you these writing exercises. Okay, so you write a story today. आज आप एक story लिखो. बचपन में story सुने थे, आज लिख के निकालो. And that is how you will be improving, or you will be increasing your making it more interesting. I like reading more than writing. For example, if I'm reading about a chapter, I just make bullet points just to memorize easily. But in exam, I can't express in writing as I want. म्हणजे समजलेलं असतं पण एक्झाम मध्ये एक्सप्लेन नाही करू शकत. आय कॅन एक्सप्लेन इट ओरली. सो माय एक्सप्लेन हाऊ आय कॅन चेंज दिस अप्रोच, नॉट जस्ट अबाउट एक्झाम but other things. Yes, here you have answered your question here only when you said, okay, the question is that मैं जो पढ़ रहा हूं मेरे दिमाग में है, I can write out the bullet points, but I cannot write good answers in my examination, right? When I was talking about being articulate, when I was talking about being articulate, it is about being good with words and expressing everything so that padhne wale ko, the one who is going to read it, he understands it completely. And this is where a lot of students face those problems. Again, the answer is here. You have to get into the mode of deliberate practice. You read one paragraph, you memorize it, you understand it, you reproduce the same paragraph. I told you 20-30, so 2:1 rule. 20 minutes if you are reading, 10 minutes you have to answer. Some people are not good at finding out the points, they will start making bullet points. Some of you are very good at making the bullet points, but you are not able to put those in sentences and write very good cogent answers. Then you have to start practicing writing those answers. The answer is here only, that you have to work, you have to find it out the way how you are going to write more and more. I think we have 5 more minutes left. If there are any more questions. No questions? Everybody, it's clear for all? I think somebody is typing. Okay, then. I think I am done with the writing and giving you that first exercise of writing. If at all you have some other questions other than writing, the forum is still open for 4.5 minutes. We can take those questions also. I hope all of you are doing well with your studies and all. If you need some help about that, if I have 4 minutes, I'll address one thing which I was told, right? So in my last video, I spoke about getting freedom from this. Leave your mobile phone and try to be as away from it as possible. And I got a feedback yesterday I'd like to share with you. The feedback is especially to tell you a couple of things. First thing being, develop a early morning routine. Try to wake up as early as possible and get a good amount of sleep. Second thing is, after you have woken up for 1.5 hours, do not look at your phone. As simple as that. This ये मुझे बताने के लिए कहा गया था कि don't look your phone, do not use your phone, don't see what has happened, because you look at your phone and you go to sleep and then you open your phone again and then it disturbs your early morning, because morning mind is very fresh, and in a fresh mind you should take some creative decisions instead of looking at some input if there should be a output. Second most important thing which I want to tell you, I spoke about exercises. Physical exercises is correct. There is always yoga, but there is also something known as a meditation. Now, what is meditation? People have spent lifetime understanding what meditation is. What I understand as meditation is, you have to be with yourself. I told you last time also. Sit in a place, be calm, think about things, don't think about things. But whenever you're meditating, at least for 10 minutes, shut yourself away, shut yourself from the surroundings. Let the surroundings not affect you in any way. Sit in a calm place, good place, in a good posture. Obviously, sit straight, close your eyes and look for that meditation. If you do it for 10 minutes, it prepares you for the entire day, preferably in the morning. This is one of the feedback that came to me, that I must be telling you about 3 things. First is a very early morning routine. Second is no mobile phone after waking up. Absolutely not. And third is meditation. If you do this automatically, you will get that time for reflection. And when you get the time for reflection, you can get into those creative zone or creative activities. Right. So we are left with a couple of minutes. If this is all right, then I think I'll end it today. If there are any suggestions, please let me know. Or what should we have for our next discussion? we can take those up also. And definitely please let me know the feedback for this session. If at all you want to develop writing as an exercise, I am here. I'll be able to help you. I told it last time also that you start writing and you send it to me. I'll check and we can develop that feedback mechanism, and then automatically you can use this lockdown to improve your writing skills. So I think that's it. I hope there is nobody who has not asked the question or any problem is there. If not, then I'll end the meeting. Right. Okay, then thank you very much for your time. Take care. Stay safe. We'll see you soon.